hey, we're just three guys sitting in a room, hashtag not a sex tape.
Yeah.
If we could get
3 guys, 3 cups.
3 guys, 3 cups.
3 oof.
1 man, 1 jar. Google it.
Oh my God.
Sounds
I
Indian.
think he's Russian.
Sorry, my head went somewhere else, but
I don't know why that's so funny.
1 man, 1 jar. Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
Indian batsman. Cricket team.
Anyway.
Welcome to That BJ Show, episode number 4. The name that's as sus as the Townsville natty bodybuilding community. Inverted commas there for those listening at home.
What's us about it?
Nothing, just, things and stuff there.
There's nothing.
Maybe the word natty.
Yeah?
They know a lot of them from front of their bio. Yeah.
no.
No, there's nothing sus about the natty, like anything in Townsville. What are you talking? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's all 100% legit.
But that's why there's nothing sus about the name of our show, because that Ben and Jay, that BJ show literally stands for That Ben and Jay Show, because you're Ben and I'm Jay.
Exactly. And with us. Thanks for introducing me too, by the way. That's
You're
probably
welcome.
a first on this show.
Yeah.
That I haven't actually had to say.
It's got to be a first for everything.
So yes,
I'm glad to be
Ben,
a first.
and this is Jay. So
Hey.
the reverse introduction. I like it.
I like
and with us, if you've been to Townsville music community for 20 plus years, this gentleman right next to us, this lovely giant, this lovely, friendly, gentle bear, as I like to call him when I'm cuddling him after long gigs, Yowie Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
Yowie Smith.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Vocalist extraordinaire. And I'll tell you what, if you are from the Townsville music community, you will 100% know this gentleman. So tell me, Yowie, who's your favourite vocalist and why is it Dave Mustaine?
It's that nasal thing,
It's that nasal thing he does. Yeah.
It's like a...
Well, serious question, though. If you were to name your top 5 vocalists.
Oof. Obviously, Barney from Napalm's in there for sure.
Yeah.
Dan Wyant from Zayo, just his scream delivery.
Mm-hmm.
I really love Ross Dolan of Immolation.
Yeah.
Obviously Max, man. Max
Cavalera.
Sepultura, Soulfly,
Yeah.
but I don't know whether that's just vocally or just he's a legend.
Yeah.
You know what I
within
mean?
the community. Yeah.
Far out, man. I don't
What about
know.
if you had to choose top 3 outside of metal?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. Yeah.
That's easy, man. That'd be like Lane
I
Staley.
was going to guess. I was going to see if I could guess the 3, but that was one of them I was going to say. I was potentially going to say Scott Whelan as well, but Scott Whelan in there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and probably Shannon Hoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm happy at that because, obviously I've known you for I think it must be at least 15, 16, 17 years. And if I didn't...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, if I didn't get Scott and Lane, I would have been really disappointed in myself. But I'm glad that I know one of my best mates. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
That's good.
It's a tough one, though. I think for me, I have to be... If someone asks me when my favourite or who my favourite vocalists are, it's just about what mood I'm in most of the time.
100%.
That can be a big thing, man.
100%. Yeah, I'm the same, man, with music. People always ask me, hey, man, what's your favorite type of music? And I'm always like, well, what do you mean? Because there's so many different genres of music that I like. And depending on what mood I'm in, depends on what type of music I'm into at that time.
Yeah.
So I love all music because I'm also a musician, the same as you guys. And so I grew up playing a lot of more contemporary... I grew up in the church community, right? So there was all that type of music, but then I grew up playing a lot of the contemporary rock sort of music as well.
Yeah.
And so I like playing bluesy and jazzy kind of stuff. So when I listen to music, depending on what sort of mood I'm in, if I want to chill, I'll listen to either jazz or metal or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I know we spoke about it last week. Yeah, you weren't here, obviously, but it was on episode 3 last week where Benny and I spoke about how we truly believe that the metal music just calms you. And it's so good. And you would understand that, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Look, especially with real technical stuff, it seems to I don't know whether because there's so much going on that it grabs my attention and you have to concentrate to listen to it properly.
Yeah.
So it calms me.
Yeah.
So my mind's not going off on a million different tangents. It's like what's going on here at this very moment with this music is so captivating that it chills me out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but that's,
For sure, man. Have you heard Snarky Puppy before?
I've heard of that. They're like jazzy sort of guys, aren't they?
Very jazz fusion.
I'm pretty sure one of my workmates keeps dropping that name every now and then.
It's awesome music, man. They're very good at the technical side of things as well. Like I sent a message to my brother-in-law last week. Actually, I was listening to one of the songs. I can't remember what it was, but I'm like, man, what's the time signature of this song? Because I'm just sitting there like trying to figure it out, and I'm like, because I don't know heaps about music theory.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is it like a 6/8 over 9th or something like? I don't know. Because I was trying to figure out how to count it. And he's like, no, it's just like a 6/8 time signature.
Yeah.
But it's the drummer was playing off the half beat, whatever it was. It was very complicated. But I'm like, after he said that, I'm like, oh, I get that.
Yeah.
But then like complicated music like that just absolutely captivates you sometimes. And obviously that depends on the person though, because not everyone likes complicated music.
Yeah.
So,
It definitely depends on the mindset I'm into. You know, if I was to listen to like technical death metal, I could get the same satisfaction when I listen to, you know, like jazz or blues or something. Because especially within the last, I think, 15 years, a lot of those technical bands have started incorporating jazz and blues leads into their music.
Yeah.
I guess the difference is the other instruments are either blasting away on the drums or there's a heap more distortion on the lead. So bands like Necrophagus, obviously, you know, I could have a whole hour talking about Muhammad of Necrophagus and just what a idol he is to me. You know what I mean? And it's quite funny to know that extreme music like that incorporates music that's considered anything but extreme, like a nice chilled jazz band or a nice chilled blues band. Yeah.
Yeah.
And creative-wise, for me, like I like that too, obviously. As I did mention last week, I've got a few projects going at the moment, and it's, depending on what mood I'm in, will dictate what music I tend to write.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Know? So that's always handy to be able to pick up those different vibes and relay that in your own head as you need to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, speaking of like what sort of music that you write, Benny, what about you, Yowie? Do you write music as well, or what do you what sort of for anyone who doesn't know you, what's the best way to describe like who you are in the music community in Townsville?
Yeah, look, I'm probably mostly known for the metal stuff, and that's all been vocally. Yeah. I've been doing that since I was about 16. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, but I've tried guitar and all that. I just don't have the patience for it, man. I just, like in my head, I go, man, I reckon I could write like sick riffs. But then it's like the discipline to learn how to put that into reality. I just go like, Anyway, but I can play drums. Yeah. And not all the bands that I've drummed in, because there's only been a couple, have been more rock sort of stuff. Like, I was in a band called Batfink, and they played real middle of the road sort of, I don't know, like a couple of people told us that we sound like a cross between REM and Foo Fighters or something like that. Yeah. You know? And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. And I'm in another band at the moment called 4 Degrees. Yeah. That is similar. It's not, it doesn't sound like Batfink, but it's in that same sort of lane. Yeah. That's cool, man. So, I love lots of mellow stuff, man. Like, like one of my favorite bands is 16 Horsepower, and they're like a full, like, you've heard of it, yeah. It's just backwoods hillbilly stuff, man. Yeah, I was going to say they're based in US, right? Yeah. And it's just backwoods, like real southern. Yeah, like, you know, southern drawl. You wonder if this, you know, the singer's wife is his sister and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's like the whole banjos. No,
honest thought.
Yeah. No, but honestly, man, like, no, because like The actual singer, David Eugene Edwards. Yeah, like he's a genius, man. Like he's got so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And he writes all this folky stuff outside of 16 horsepower, which is interesting because a lot of the black metal guys over in Norway and all that, because he's got a project called Woven Hand, which is mellow as, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
And heaps of the black metal guys from the Scandinavian scene love Woven Hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
One of the best nights me and Yowie have ever shared.
Yeah.
And I'll finish this sentence before people start to think it goes elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a New Year's Eve.
we got really drunk.
No, not that one. It was a New Year's Eve, I want to say probably around 10 years ago. And we threw on Metallica's Lulu, which is the collaboration with Lou Reed.
Yeah.
And look, I'll respect all music, but
Don't have to say that, man.
But
Just
this
be
particular
honest.
album is an absolute abomination. Like there's diehard Metallica fans that will go, "What the hell is happening here, lads?"
They just deny it exists, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And it's so bad, it's good. It's one of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's like Metallica got, like, for those that haven't heard it, for those that have heard it, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But for those that haven't heard it, imagine Metallica all getting drunk one night and having like a jam, and then a drunk hobo from coming in and just rambling lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much Metallica's.
But it's kind of, it's kind
Is that
of
actually what happened though?
No, it's like they're meant to be their avant-garde experimental project.
Sometimes I wonder whether Lou Reed actually heard the songs.
Beforehand?
Oh, no, like ever.
Oh, really?
As in like, or whether they just went, here's a microphone, man, just ramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like half his stuff doesn't sound like it's on time.
Oh, no, it's definitely not.
It's just all over the place. So it's like, did this guy ever actually hear the song to know where to put lyric placement or anything?
It's just him drunk rambling.
I know some of the songs you're talking about, but it's interesting because I wondered if it was sort of like John Mayer when he released the album. I can't remember what it's called. It's on the top of my head. But he released this album. Genuinely, I can't remember what the album's called. But basically, I remember John Mayer saying that when he released that album, all his goal was he just wanted to get the songs out because he just wanted to have an album where he just finished songs, and that was all his focus.
Yeah.
He didn't focus on making top hits or anything. He just wanted to finish the songs. Yeah. But I'm guessing that's nothing like the story of Metallica.
It's like it's literally Lou Reed rambling like a drunk uncle at a barbecue, at a family barbecue.
Yeah.
Over music that doesn't sound anything like Metallica.
Yeah. And completely nonsensical.
No,
lyrics.
just there's nothing that makes sense of it. Like if anyone else released that album,
perfect,
people would just go, "What is this garbage?" Like I never want to hear that.
Yeah, no one. It'd be just sitting on a shelf somewhere in the drummer's basement or something.
Yeah. But Yowie and I listened to this album the entire way through, and mind you, it's fucking 80 minutes long. Like they push the envelope with song lengths. Yeah. It's not like a 40, 50-minute Metallica album. It's like 7-8 minute songs that just go on and on and on. And Yowie and I got on the internet afterwards and just read all the reviews. And that was the funniest thing, just reading there was nothing positive about this album.
No.
Love it.
There was something like someone lactating.
That one chick wrote, I would rather my husband make me lactate than ever hear this again.
Dude, it's so funny, man. Oh man, but that's like have you ever seen the show The Big Lead Show? It's an Australian,
the cartoon,
Australian cartoon.
Yeah.
Dude, that is an acquired taste. But the guy who made that show, Jared Wright, I think it was off the top of my head.
Yeah.
He created all this like funny psychedelic music in the show as well, and it's that sort of shit that you're just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But for some, you're just like, it's actually so shit that it's really good.
Oh man, that's this album.
Yeah,
you know, 100%. And like.
But it's good in an amusing way. It's not good as in like, wow, man, it's so bad that it's good as in, you know, like some movies you watch.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really bad, but there's something about it that's good. Like, it's not like
The Terminator. Hey, look, I know movies that you Hey, have you watched the
You've seen
Terminator?
Terminator.
I've seen the Terminator.
You've seen the
Terminator?
Terminator. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
I love
The
the
first
Terminator.
one.
All of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, get off.
Yeah. I'm
Dude.
surprised you've seen the Terminator.
I love it. Hey, I've seen a lot of other movies that you probably haven't seen.
Have
But
you
anyway,
watched-
we're not going to talk about
What
movies.
about RoboCop? Have you seen that yet?
Come on, mate.
No,
Mate,
so-
probably hasn't seen Weekend at Bernie's.
I saw old Dazza who was like, "Oh, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Nah, mate." And you're just like,
Dude.
"What do I have to deal with?"
It's terrible.
Poor Dazza. Poor you. Poor me.
I was just thinking, oh yeah, I had a mental image in my head, and the mental image that always comes into my head when I'm talking about Lulu is there's a live clip of them playing it with Lou Reed.
Oh,
And the
really?
camera, one of the songs, I'll have to find it. I might put it in the comments of the YouTube video for people that are wondering. And about a minute or two into the song, and like it's just as bad live as what it is on the album. There's no saving grace. But the camera pans to Kirk Hammett, the guitarist in Metallica.
Yeah.
And the look on his face when like it's while Lou's doing the vocals, the look on Kirk's face is literally like, what the fuck have we done? You know, like there's an instant look. And scrolling down through the comments, because YouTube comments are full of gold in videos like this.
Yeah,
So good.
gems,
Looking
man.
at the comments, everyone just points out that timestamp and like Kirk Hammett. You know what I mean? So check it out. And I have gone back and listened to it, I want to say twice in the last 10 years, just purely to see if A, it's as bad as what I remember,
Yep.
and B,
Is
just
it?
because it is.
Yeah, cool.
B, because I want to be entertained again for 80 minutes. God knows why.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, check it out, man.
Yeah.
Really. I don't think I've ever heard an album that's
So
that
good.
bad that's good.
I love it.
You know, man, props to Metallica. One of the, they need no other introduction or nothing else said about them than
dude.
Metallica.
Yeah.
But sometimes experimenting can go wrong.
Yeah.
Just ask any ER nurse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Experimenting can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Just
You
like
know
how the
what?
nurse said that it was okay for you to come in with a cucumber up your ass. You
mate.
don't have to tell us why.
Sometimes I think that'd be less painful than listening to Lulu again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, dude.
Like, anyway, how did we get onto Lulu? I can't even.
How do we
remember.
get on to cucumbers up asses?
I don't know.
It's just
But
the way
yeah,
it
so
goes.
that there's pretty much.
I love it.
Oh yeah, the New Year's. That was Yowie
Oh,
and
yeah.
I New Year's once.
Yeah.
You know, and we had no other plans that night other than just, hey man, want to come listen to music? Let's have a quiet one.
So good.
Ended up being the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
The last 10 years for all the wrong reasons.
Love it. It's so funny. Man, there's so many things where you just like, you think about music like that and you're listening to it for 80 minutes and you're just thinking, do I have to, if it's that shit, do I have to like be psyching out on like just to listen to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychedelics and all that shit.
It's
Not
great.
yeah,
But I mean, at least we're keeping busy with music.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to Yowie for the latest 11 Oceans track that we did. That is
Yeah.
Yowie
Yeah,
you're hearing,
Mel, thank
ladies
you
and
for
gentlemen.
inviting me in.
Yeah.
Like, that was
good.
an honour, and thank you for the photos.
Oh man, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right.
These guys looked good
Yeah.
out on that beach.
At that beach.
The beach?
In the water.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of a behind the scenes Easter egg tidbit. If you look closely at Yowie's shoes, you'll see that they're actually white sneakers that were spray painted black. We had nothing else on the day.
Yeah, that was funny. So what other sort of projects that you're because obviously you guys are mates and so I know you've done a track with 11 Oceans of Ashes.
Yeah.
Do you do stuff with amniostasis obviously?
Yep.
Have you done anything with like God Particle or
Yeah.
With one or two songs.
The
Maybe
latest
just one.
Yeah, the one song with God Particle. So Dave, the God Particle vocalist, relocated recently. So it was just in the interim while he gets settled in and there's stuff there. We'll start working on again soon, pretty much. But
That's cool, man.
it was an opportunity to work.
That's cool.
I think that's the best thing about music. Like you can just throw out ideas and something will become of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? And Yowie and I were actually having this conversation last Saturday, actually, when we were talking about bands and just the process of writing music, getting well known. Like back in the day, you learn an instrument, you then potentially advertise to get band members, whatever the case may be. You meet up, form good relationships with dudes or girls that have other interests in like playing instruments, write a couple of songs. You then start to potentially look at gigging once you have a few songs written. Once you've done that, you then look at recording. After that, then you look at potentially physical copies of albums or CDs or even tapes back in the day. Then you look at potentially advertising in terms of like film clips and more so. But today's bands don't actually have to do that. That was,
that's right. The conversation, we're talking about how it's almost backwards now.
Yeah.
So a lot of, because of technology and everything and what you can get your hands on in your own house these days, like, what you can record in a lounge room these days is as good as like going into like some massive studio like 20, 30 years ago. Oh, don't get me wrong, man. There's still definitely a place and a purpose for those type of studios. And I don't know if you'll ever fully match some things with a home studio. But yeah, like we're just talking about like how, and I'm not knocking any bands that do this, but it's a bit of a spin out coming. I'm going to sound old here, man.
It's
like,
good.
Like we were saying, it's almost like you had to almost sort of pay your dues before you were even considered. Well, no one had the resources and stuff to make really good videos and stuff back then. So you would have to sort of grab people's attention. And then if someone was a cameraman or they knew someone or whatever, they could go, hey man, like you guys are great or whatever, like we can hook you up. This dude would do a video. And man, it was ridiculous the prices you had to pay back then to get a video done. Where now it's like people are doing videos on their phones, man, and stuff like that. And but
oh man,
it's all right, mate. we all know the phones are never as good as
no.
It's
And like I'm not saying that those videos are good.
I hate phones,
but
so much.
But like it's even the ones that aren't doing phone videos, they're doing like really good video and like
100%. Yeah,
they haven't even got like they don't have a EP out. They don't have like they just come straight onto the scene. With a professional, really well done video. And like really good production and all that sort of stuff, like audibly and visually, the whole thing. And you're just like, well, that's how you started.
Legit, man. It's awesome. Hey, I mean, we all know a band in Townsville that has just released their EP last week.
Well, look,
shout out to Lost Beneath.
Like, and that's what made us think like these guys have come out of nowhere. Their EP is awesome.
Phenomenal,
Their
man.
film clip is just top of the range. And there's not even a physical copy. Like they've done so well without even actually having a physical copy. And that's like fucking cool. Like, that's
so cool.
So if they can get this big without even a physical copy, man, give them a little while longer. It's like, holy shit, they can do anything.
100%, man.
You know what I mean?
And shout out to Lost Beneath, those boys. Shout out to them, 100%. And also,
very well.
And it's so good talking about even the video side of it. Obviously, I'm a videographer, and so I take pride in really good video. But looking back at the video back then, so how much, like for example, how much was the prices of videos for music videos back when you started music?
Well,
let's think about acute obliteration.
Good videos.
Metanoia.
So I was in a band called Metanoia. We did a video that was 95, I think it was. Now this is back when you still got signed to labels, you know what I mean? So we were signed to a label, and so the label, I don't know how much it cost because the label took care of all that. And then obviously you've got to sell enough units to cover the cost of everything before you start seeing any money. But Arik, who we were talking to the other day. So
shout out to Arik, another long time Townsville Muse.
Done
a hell of a lot.
I remember he was talking to someone, this was a fair while ago. I think he was talking to someone who worked in one of the news stations. And he got talking about like doing a video and whatever. And this guy was like, "Oh yeah, man, yeah, I can do it." And then when they got talking about price, it was something like $3,000 for like a 4-minute video or something.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, and that was back then in 95, you said?
No, that one that Arik had that conversation with, that was a lot later than that. That would have been like in the last 10 to 15 years, I reckon.
Okay. Yeah. And was that a pretty high level production for that? Or? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, the prices are probably still, Yeah, because I'm obviously in the videography game as well, so I know a few people who will do high quality music videos for around that $1,500 to $3,000 mark. I don't know how much, and obviously we will not talk about how much it cost for some specific videos. But yeah, it's interesting the different costs involved with different levels of gear that's come along the way, and like you were saying, even the fact that you can do a whole production inside of a house now, and it can sound beautifully produced as well. I mean, obviously we're in a massive studio here, if you can see it. A little tiny room.
A couple of single chairs.
A little 3x4 room.
But it works for us.
It works, exactly, and we're grateful. We're grateful. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even like you guys, I'm guessing you guys have recorded a lot of stuff at home as well, and then you've produced a lot of the vocals in a studio, little studio.
If I was to think about it, like we've got a few songs out under the Amniostasis banner. We don't have a physical copy.
Yeah.
But there are guys over in Brazil or a couple of that regularly communicate with us. So our music is known in other countries.
Yeah.
And going back to what we were saying before, we don't even have a physical CD yet. Like it's literally us writing. It's all online.
Yeah.
It's all,
and look, I mean? Man, there's I know that I think you just touched on this in the previous episode, like how much the internet has changed things.
Yeah.
But there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember reading some stuff about just like even the amount of lives that are saved now because of the internet, like in medical stuff.
Yeah.
Because they would have heard, there was some doctor over in Lebanon or something that he had a case like this or whatever, and you don't have to write a letter anymore and wait 6 weeks for it to arrive and then another 6 weeks to get a reply. It's just boom.
Yeah.
Like get on, send them an email and they can go, oh, yeah, I did this and this and this. And within the hour, you could be potentially saving someone's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's a pretty extreme example or whatever.
Oh man, we're all about the extreme examples.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like the amount of money I save now with I'm not a big fan of streaming services for music as in pay wise.
Yeah.
Like I think that some of them do rip artists off. But me personally, it's easy for me to go, I'm not in it for the money because I'm not trying to make a living off it or whatever. But if I was in a band, say, like some massive band that was already established and whatever, and your income is your music, and then all of a sudden, like you're getting like
peanuts
compared to what you used to, because people don't need to buy hard copies anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
I can understand how that would piss people off and whatever. But, so it's easy for me to go, I'm not in it for the money or whatever. But I don't know. I've kind of lost track where I was going. I think what I was going to say is, that's right. I can say I've saved lots of money because of streaming services.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, man, you'd read about a band in a magazine. And obviously, whoever's writing is trying to make this band sound awesome.
Yeah.
And you fall for that.
Yeah.
So then you go down to the post office and get your money order written out, and that costs you like $2.50 or whatever just to get the money order written up. Then you send it to I remember ordering this EP or something from this band in Mexico. and I can't even remember what they were called, man. And I was like, this is going to be so good. And it's like 10, 12 weeks later, it rocks up. And it sounded like it was recorded in a sink, you know what I mean? It was absolute fucking trash.
Yeah. The carteller beheading someone in the room next door.
It was fucking terrible. And I just remember just like chucking it. I was just like,
oh man.
Where now I can read something in a magazine or whatever, or hear about a band and just go and listen to it and then go, oh no, that's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, look, I still buy heaps of hard copies, man.
Yeah.
If I like something, I want a physical copy of it.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
I'm the sort of person that's I'll use streaming to listen to an album to know whether I like it, like you said.
yeah.
But I love holding the physical thing.
Absolutely.
You know, there's something special about looking at artwork, reading lyrics that are printed in, just knowing and having everything.
Yeah.
You know, like music's just part of their interpretation. The imagery and knowing the lyrics is the other piece of the puzzle that makes that product whole. So if I'm missing that, like there were times when I was young and I was, you know, buying so many CDs that I would listen to them while holding the booklet and reading it. You know what I mean? Like
time,
that was
man.
just part of the experience
100%.
to me.
Yeah.
And I guess it goes back to just my love of knowing the lyrics and what the artist or the vocalist at least is trying to, you know, convey. Because in a band scenario, you've got obviously the guys making the music and that's their expression, but the vocalist's expression is just as important sometimes. And sometimes I just like to know what they're saying that goes along with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, well, as a vocalist, like, you know, one of the things for me is I want to try and get better and better every time at writing lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
So when you feel like you're putting effort into that, and especially in metal, like it's, you know, it's either really hard to understand or you just don't understand it. And that's an issue for some people. It's not for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I look at metal vocalists as like another instrument.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And I'm getting distracted with some of my arguments I have with people around when they go, oh, you can't even understand it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And then you
like,
listen.
But then you listen to like, I remember that song Despacito.
Yeah.
You know, like it became a #1 hit. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I don't know anyone
Yeah.
except for maybe a good mate from El Salvador that knew what he was saying.
Exactly. It's like,
But hey, man, it's #1. It's like, so.
Or Blue. Where lyrics aren't even a thing.
what the fuck are the lyrics?
It can't be, I can't understand what they're saying, so it's shit. It's like, just say you don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
in the
it's-
exact same boat, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to like being a vocalist and writing lyrics and all that sort of stuff, like, when you've got hard copies and stuff like that, like you can share that, you know what I mean? Like someone can read what you're saying, whether it resonates with them or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm big on that. Like, it's like with what we were talking about before when you asked about vocalists and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so like you got like, and I said Dan Wayant from Zayo. Okay. You know, like I used to like Zayo a lot more than I do now, but like vocally, I still love his delivery. But he just wrote amazing lyrics, man. You know, and that was that's always been a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And that's been great with Amniostasis because it's sort of, I've been able to free myself to write pretty much whatever and not have to hold back. And
It's good.
and,
Hey, tell them about the night you got drunk and wrote some lyrics and you thought it was the best thing ever.
I want to hear all about it. I want to hear all
I get a message
about
from him
it.
like, dude, I've just written the best song ever.
it wasn't bad when I actually read it.
The following day when you sobered up.
Yeah, when I sobered up and read it, I was like, he's still actually not that bad.
Yeah, true. Well,
Man, I can get on real political rants and shit sometimes when I get drunk. And,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't even remember what it was about. I think it was about, you know, when you see all those videos of people like that are doing like they're standing up for some cause, but then it gets exposed that like it was like they weren't even involved in the protest.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They'd run out, got a photo at the protest,
Yeah.
and then ran. It was something about.
And they have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I think it was.
Sheep.
Yeah. I think it was something about that. Like it was about those type of people, and just and it was all about like how their face belongs on the bottom of the boot and all sort of shit.
All I remember was getting the text message like late one night. He's like, "Man, written the best song ever. Like, I'll send it to you tomorrow." And the next day he messages me and he's like, "Oh man, I'm just going over those lyrics. Maybe I won't send them through." Once the alcohol had worn off. That was funny.
Oh, that's funny. So you seem to get pretty political then when you're very drunk, eh? You love it? Is that
at times, man? At times.
Well, you know what they say when you get drunk, that you become more of who you are. So
yeah, maybe.
Does that make you tick a little bit? Talking about political issues, and we've specifically stuck off those topics for now.
Oh, look,
I'm happy to talk about it. I'm
personally always happy to go there. Like, I don't think anything should be off topic.
Yeah,
personally,
good.
Like I was having a conversation with a mate recently, and we were talking about conspiracy theories and how they've seemed to disappear for now.
Yeah,
like for now.
Yeah.
And I guess because of the whole COVID thing, whatever. And
what's COVID? Does it even exist?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just look, that sort of shit. To be honest, man, it aggravates me.
Yeah.
Because I guess I have a bit of a, I don't know, like you were saying before that you grew up in a church background and stuff like that. So like, I was heavily involved in church for like.
True.
Oh, big time, man.
Yeah, right.
Like big time for like 20, close to 20 years.
Yeah. What sort of church background, if you don't mind me asking?
I was raised, when I was really young, I was raised Catholic.
Yep.
Then, I got out of that sort of thing. And then, and then when I was about 15, I was getting right into like really heavy sort of music and stuff like that. And there was a band in Townsville called Metanoia.
Yeah.
And do you know?
I don't know them, but I know their music because everyone talks about them all the time.
Okay. So,
and I wish I was there because I would have loved to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were all Christian guys, and a dude at school told me they were Christians, and I was like, bullshit, man. Have you heard the music they play? Blah, blah,
it's
blah.
It's evil. It's
and
evil
then,
music.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, actually, no, man. He goes, I go to their youth group. And I'm like, what the fuck's a youth group? And I was like, whatever. So I was totally oblivious to it. And I ended up going to it more out of curiosity than anything. And eventually I started like hanging out with them more.
Yeah.
Ended up in Metanoia. Started going to church and all that sort of stuff and whatever. And, I guess the worst thing the church ever did was tell you to study the Word of God, because it got to a point where I did, and I studied it pretty hard, and it got to a point where I came to realize, well, what's actually in there is not what you guys are talking about. And like, man, I could talk about this shit for hours.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
Go for it.
Put it in, to condense it down. Like I've only walked away from it in like the last fucking 5 years or something.
Yep.
But I have this thing now where conspiracy theories and shit like that to me is very much like religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, like, I think I've spoken to you about this before.
Yeah.
It's like my little theory is that conspiracy theories have become humanity's new religion.
Yeah.
So we've, as people with knowledge and all that, we've become more disenchanted. So there's less and less people to believe in things like gods, devils, demons, angels and all that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like humanity hasn't been able to fully let go of, there's something more behind that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now and replace God and Satan and whatever with big corporations.
Yeah.
And what's really controlling the government.
Yeah.
And all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
So it's something new to follow, basically. Or
yeah. And like and I can see a lot of comparison with people who are into conspiracy theories and religious people.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify too, when I say religion, I'm talking also about, because I think a lot of Christians think they get off the hook when you say religion, because they have that attitude of, well, we're not religious. It's not religion, it's relationship. I'm sure you would have heard
I've
that.
heard that, yeah.
And it's just a fucking play on words. Anyway, if anyone out there is listening who's a Christian, when I say religion, I'm including you in that as well.
Yeah.
Not to be offensive. It's just easy. It's just easier to say it as religion. Look, I'm still covered in like the tattoos of the shit and whatever. But anyway, so I've found that there's, like people into conspiracy theories and shit, like they're enlightened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they treat all the other people who don't really believe what they believe like they're dumb, or they're, or why can't you see? You're blinded. You've been blinded by whatever the corporation is or whatever, instead of Satan.
Yeah.
Or and all that sort of shit. And like it was, to me, it was huge with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
And trust me, man, I believe in a very healthy distrust of government.
Yeah.
But not to the point where, like, look, I'm not saying other governments in other countries don't do this sort of shit, but here, they weren't trying to fucking microchip us and kill us off. And, it wasn't like a fucking population cull.
Yeah.
And I find that sort of shit, just like religion, distracts you from the real issue.
Yeah.
So it's like when people are genuinely sick.
Yeah.
Instead of seeking out proper professional help, they're getting prayed over and all that sort of stuff. And so the thing that's actually causing them to be sick is not being addressed.
Yeah.
And it's like with COVID, and like this is no anti-China thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I found that the conspiracies distracted away from where did this shit actually come from and what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Whether it came from a wet market or not, maybe, or whether it leaked from a lab, maybe, like I'm not saying I know either way.
Yeah.
But it definitely came from there.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time something like this has happened in that part of the world.
Yeah.
But no one talked about that.
That's
no
right.
No one wanted to go and investigate how do we nail that shit to make sure it never happens again. Everyone was more like, it's the fucking, it's a population cull. It's fucking, it's some bullshit to do with we're all getting microchipped by this vaccine and blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, like, look, I've got my own thoughts about the vaccine and whatever, like I don't like the way the government handled how we didn't have to get it.
Yeah.
But you kind of did.
But then we did, yeah.
Yeah, and when you hear about shit like, I think people forget that some shit's been around for a long time. Like when people are talking about mandatory vaccines like they haven't existed before. It's bullshit, man. There's been mandatory
100%.
vaccine. Like there's certain jobs that have been around forever where if you're not vaccinated for a certain thing, you do not have that job. That's just how it is.
Any hospital job when I was working up there, you had to have your measles, hepatitis,
Yeah.
There was all the mandatory vaccines to even get your foot in the door of working in the Townsville hospital.
Yeah.
And as much as I think the government fucked up in a lot of ways with the way they handled it, I also try and be reasonable and think there is no one alive who had to deal with a pandemic before.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of winging this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, man, if you want to get into thoughts or theories or whatever around money, like whether Pfizer did a deal with the governments and it was like, so they pushed and pushed and pushed for this vaccine because there was so much money. Yeah, man, that sort of shit's believable. But thinking that we're all getting microchipped and all that sort of shit.
Yep.
And that all tied in. And I noticed that a lot of conspiracies were actually blatantly crossing over with religion.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, this is the mark.
Yeah.
If you get chipped, this is the mark of the beast. And I was like, fuck me.
Actually, like, pause there for a second. There was, so when you were working at the hospital and to keep your job, you had to get it. the vaccine, there was like an exception to that potentially in some cases if it was against your religion.
Yeah.
You know, which I found really interesting.
Yeah.
Very
And
fascinating.
look, man, look, I personally don't believe the vaccine was as effective as they led us to believe. But I don't think it started fucking knocking people off and everything.
Yeah.
Like people. I think we saw something recently. It was like 1 in 8 people who have vaccinated have died from complications. It's like I don't even need to do a fucking 30-second Google search. Like reality.
Yeah.
Just walking out my front door shows me that's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Man, if you compare looking at all conspiracy theories and thoughts about religion, you mesh all of those different things together and how we operate with them. So for the people who are, for example, people who are in religion of any kind, people who believe in conspiracy theories, and you're talking about like big government shit.
yeah.
Like talking about the personal responsibility that you have to take as a person. Like what's your stance on how we operate as people amongst other people with these conspiracy theories? Because, for example, we both grew up in the Christian environment, or at least some kind of religious Christian environment, and so we were taught things that sometimes go against very much so what other people believe. That's the whole reason why we started this podcast, because we realized that everyone has a different opinion about something.
Yeah.
And when you talk, especially when you're talking about conspiracy theories, I remember when COVID was around, everyone was talking about how, you know, some people just didn't give 2 fucks about anything.
This is how they're going to bring in the cashless society. You know what, man? I've been hearing about the cashless society for about 35 fucking years. Man.
Exactly.
And anytime something of significance happens, this is when this shit. And I was saying this earlier, like to someone, like I fucking guarantee, man. Like I would probably put if I was a betting man, I'd probably put like a decent amount of coin on this. If Trump gets back in, we will hear from QAnon again.
Yeah.
Like that shit will rise up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, and like, man, I had people who would argue with me, man, how fucking true that QAnon and Pizzagate and all that shit was. And it's just
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
But I'm hungry.
You just haven't heard of Pizzagate?
No,
fuck.
Pizzagate.
Dude.
What is Pizzagate?
So there was like apparently a pizza shop somewhere. Like it got really fucking like quite hairy at one stage. There was a pizza shop who apparently ran like a fucking underground pedophile ring, right?
Where at?
In somewhere in the States,
okay, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And fucking apparently Justin Bieber was involved, as in he was fucking fiddled with or some shit. Like there was all this shit, and it all came through shit like he'd be interviewed and someone would write on the fucking thing, like a live feed, if you were involved in Pizzagate, nod your head, you know, and like Justin Bieber would be talking, then he'd be like, you know, or something like that, and they'd be like, he nodded, he knows about it, fucking rah, whatever. And you know, they had some fucking underground dungeon and all this sort of shit, you know. You know, I don't remember all the details exactly because it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
But some dude with a fucking rocked up with a gun there to try and rescue all the kids that were being held in the fucking rape cellar. And,
Jesus.
Under the pizza shop, in the pizza shop.
Yeah. It got arrested, like, and there's nothing there. It's a fucking pizza shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, there's a really interesting podcast. I can't remember like whose channel or whatever it was, but I think it's called The King of Fake News. And it was about this dude who just, like, that was his thing, man. He purposely wrote fake news. And even down the bottom of some of his shit, you have to write that it's fake.
Yeah.
But people don't care. They believed it.
Yeah.
And like he even had relatives that were talking to him about Hillary Clinton's sex dungeons and shit. And he's like, he's like, that's not real, eh? And they're like, it is. And he's like, he goes, I wrote that story. They're like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
And that's how
legit.
stubborn it can be.
Yeah.
Like that. And so when it comes to, like, I guess, going back to what you were saying, how do we live with people like this? Like, I got to remember I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably an insufferable cunt sometimes.
Yeah.
But sorry if we're not allowed to say that word.
No, we can say whatever.
We can say whatever we want.
Yeah. Beep. Yeah. So there's all that sort of shit that I try and be level-headed and remember that I probably spoke a lot of shit and believed a lot of not probably, I did. You know.
Yeah.
But and sometimes I find that the more you argue, the more they dig their heels into.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually force them into the belief or whatever even more.
Yeah.
Like they believe it more out of stubbornness. Like, I'll show you. I'm gonna.
Well, yeah. Like, so if you compare the conspiracy theory and religion thing, so like if you're arguing with someone who's religious, it's like you're either blinded or being used by the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're talking to a conspiracy theorist, you're either blinded or you're like a fucking agent of the big or you've been blinded by the big whatever it is, corporation or Illuminati or whatever the fuck you know, they want to call it.
Yeah.
So that's why I see so many similarities between it all. But like I was talking with someone about this like a few weeks back, and I said, look, for me now with like conspiracy stuff, I just get to a point where if I know that all we're going to do is argue and there's going to be no resolve and we're actually not going to listen to each other. We're just arguing because we feel like we should. I don't get into that sort of shit anymore. Now I just kind of go like, all right, look, how about we come back and have this conversation in about another 5 to 10 years?
Yeah.
And one of us are going to have to admit some things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's kind of how I deal with it now.
Yeah, dude.
I guess it's different with religion. You kind of got to go, well, when we're dead, we might have a conversation.
Yeah.
And we might have to admit some things, you know. But with the conspiracy theories, it's like
It's almost like the whole 9/11 thing.
Oh yeah,
At the time,
dude, I got caught up in that big time, man.
At the time, it was this, horrendous act of terrorism. But as time goes on, more people are like, "Fucking inside job by the government."
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's, as much as I don't want to say this, but there's so much, there's so much evidence that could actually suggest that. Which is a terrible thing to say. Yeah. I obviously don't know, but when you see people presenting their arguments and like bits of film and footage and like researchers that have actually gone on camera to researchers in professionals in their field of either engineering or whatever the case coming on and are happy to go, like this, an airplane couldn't have done this or engine fuel couldn't have done this. It's like, oh shit. And it kind of, it captures you. It captures you to want to go into that rabbit hole of like, those fucking government bastards.
But I guess the thing for me, man, is like I try and look at both sides now. So like as soon as someone comes up with anything that to me might sound like a conspiracy theory, I don't write it off. I don't just go, oh no, it's one of these fucking nutters again. Yeah. Like I'll actually sometimes look into it. Yeah. Yeah. And if I can't find conflicting shit that makes their argument look like trash, then I'm kind of like, oh, okay, and I guess for me, man, like I value my time these days better than getting caught up in this shit. So it's like, I'm also happy now in these days to go, I don't know. Yeah. Like the whole thing with Corona. Did it come from a wet market or was it leaked from a lab? I don't fucking know. Yeah, exactly. I'm not convinced either way.
Yeah. So if old mate Karen or Darren comes over to you and they say, they start rattling off to you about, how the government's they're out to get us and they're out to microchip us and stuff. Like, you just have that. You got to have that attitude of like, well, okay, I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
But cool.
Oh, look. Oh, it depends. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, cool. And other times, man, I'll just tell people you're fucking so full of shit. Like, I'll just go like,
yeah.
And I've had these conversations with people and where I've just gone, they'll like the QR. Remember how you had to fucking check in everywhere?
Yeah.
Like that was fucking annoying. And like I didn't always do it and whatever because it was just out of frustration more than anything because it was just annoying. But their whole thing was it's just so they can track you. Yeah. So they can track you. It's like, oh, no, it's got nothing to do with them being able to let you know as soon as possible that you've been into the vicinity of like someone positive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with that. They just want to track you. They want to know how many fucking coffees you had, how many times you went to Woolworths.
Yeah.
And it's like, give me a fucking break. Like,
yeah.
And the other thing, you're not that important.
You don't matter enough for them to give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's not like you're fucking Julian Assange or something. Like, you're not that important. And the other fucking thing is, like, if you want to get into tracking and shit, like I've watched some stuff like on spy shit and like the technology and shit they got, man.
Yeah.
Dude, if you do not want to get tracked, close your bank account. Like just fucking close your bank account. Get rid of your phone. Get rid of like don't have the only way you could survive is to find a job that will pay you in cash.
Yeah.
And fucking don't live in a car because they'll have your rego.
Yeah.
And GPS. The cars have a GPS these days too,
like you know what I mean? Like this whole thing about it was tracking.
Yeah.
Yet they're probably posting about it on their fucking phone.
Yep.
Which is probably the
most tracked thing in bro.
Yeah. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me,
100%.
Like,
100%. Bro, we are so being tracked with like phones though. As in like, not, obviously, I believe it all.
Yeah.
No, as in like, you know how you say something on your phone, like let's test this theory out, right? And this is for everyone listening. Yeah. If we talk about this right now and say that we love popcorn with chocolate melted butter over the top of it, I bet you anything that on my phone in the next 2 days or something, it's going to come up on my phone.
Yeah. But we know that.
And we know that. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I get it, man. When you want to talk about marketing and it's all influence and it's about money.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah. That's all believable.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about like the fucking reptilians or something, trying to, it's like, fuck off.
Yeah. Actually, can we actually also backtrack to, can we backtrack to the dinosaur days, please? Speaking about reptiles. No, I'm kidding.
Just the thought that someone out there legitimately thinks that people are wearing, or that these reptiles are wearing human skin to like infiltrate our society.
Yeah.
They're from another planet or another time.
Yeah. You don't believe that?
Oh, dude.
I'm kidding.
I mean, like,
there was debate about this.
Just the thought that there are people who are considered sane by today's society that think there are reptilians among us.
Yeah.
To like get in, watch how we do things, start to mimic our movements, start to mimic everything a human being does.
But how fucking long is it going to take? Like, just fucking take us over.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like,
100%. 100%.
The reptilians.
Okay. So to take that exact same thought process of like talking to someone genuinely who really believes that like the reptilians are all real and stuff like that, right? Talk about something that's a little bit more easy to digest for some people. When we're talking about like religion, for example, and you would know what this is like. Benny, do you have any background in Christian stuff at all? I don't.
Oh, I was baptized as a kid, like definitely not to the point. I never really went to Sunday. Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
no, that's right. Just so I can.
I
be
went
on the
to
same
religious schools. Obviously, I really didn't pay much attention in religion.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Born into a religion line of family, but not actively participating in religion. Yeah.
No, that's all right. All good. Just so I can like gauge roughly where your head is at with it too. But if you're talking about a subject that is genuinely like so serious to someone, for example, back in my day, we used to have, not me, I used to kind of listen to, I was always one of those level-headed, I'd listen to both sides of the story so I can understand where they're both coming from. But certain people that I've known in my life, for example, when people talk about gays, when people talk about nightclubbing and partying, sex before marriage, all that sort of stuff, drugs, alcohol, anything like that, when it's a really serious topic that people like to talk about, when it's from the religion side of you, they'll sit there and just get into you, as you said before, about how the Christian or the religious type will most likely always say that, you know, that stuff is wrong, and you're a sinner, you're going against God's way for you. But if you don't believe that, then I get that a lot of people try to convert people over to their own opinion, but the thing is, like, even when you're talking about lizards and all that sort of shit, like, how far does it go to when you genuinely have to try to sit down and listen to someone, and this goes both ways between both parties, that you just sit down and you listen, and then you just either get to the point where you respect their opinion, but don't choose to go to you don't choose to follow their ways. You know what I mean?
So my thing is, I guess I think I know what you're saying, but I just probably word it differently. Where I respect them, but I don't respect what they've got to say. Mm-hmm. Like, and that might sound really harsh and brutal or whatever, but like, there's some opinions and there's some things or some thoughts on things that I have no respect for whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I'll write that person off. Yeah, and not respect them as a person. Yeah, like, you know, and you know, I don't know. I guess I got to remember, like, there's a lot of things, like, especially around the religious stuff, there's a lot of fear involved. Yeah.
Fear of, like, if you don't conform to their views.
Well, fear then they're probably even scared just to consider what you've got to say. Mm. Because if you happen to lead them astray, that's, to them, like, people who don't believe this and have no experience this won't get it. But to them, that's a life and death issue, man. Mm. Yeah. Like, that's the that comes down to, like, their eternal fucking whatever you call it.
Their eternal rest.
Yeah.
Will they go to the place that they've been promised to go after death? Yeah. Yep. Or if they question it the slightest, will it just deviate them to a fiery hell? Sort of thing.
Man. Yeah, that sort of shit. Yeah. Even though anyway, I won't. I was just going to say shit about hell or whatever, but that can be another podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back on and we'll talk more about this sort of stuff, because I'm sure hopefully people listening will want to hear more about this sort of stuff later on. Yeah. But I mean, like, we can keep talking about a few more things. We've still got a little bit more time.
Because I was going to say before, the two conspiracy theories, or at least points of view, that I will always hear the most of. Obviously 9/11 we've covered, and the second one is the government has a cure for cancer. It's just they would lose too much money from organisations if they actually came out with a cure. There are so many people I know.
You know, like, man, that actually has crossed my mind. Yeah, not even on a big conspiracy level. Like, I just kind of go, like, this is the thing. I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, I reckon they have a cure for cancer. Yeah. But I do question whether there was a cure, how freely they would just put it out there, because like, there is billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's $1 billion industry.
Oh, big time, man. Like, you know, there is so many charities and organizations for cancer, which is understandable. Yeah. I'm not, you know, that are just bringing in so much money. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, like, I don't want to be a horrible person, you know, and sound like I don't care for people that have lost people to cancer and that, you know. Like, man, my mum has had cancer twice, you know, and it's fucking horrible to watch someone go through it. But yeah, like, I have thought that, man. Yeah. I have thought, like, I wonder if they did have a cure, like, how freely would they give it out? Because there would be a lot of money lost.
Yeah.
And look, man, like it or not, man, money talks.
Money, unfortunately, rules the world.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So, like, when people want to talk about that sort of stuff, and if they want to have a conspiracy or a theory around how things work with fucking big money, like, yeah, man, cool. But when you start getting into all that other shit.
Yeah. So what do you think the takeaway from all of this sort of discussion is, though? Like, if we could give like one thing that's just like, hey, we're just three guys sitting in a room, hashtag not a sex tape.
Yeah.
If we could give
three guys, three cups.
Three guys, three cups.
three so good.
Have you Googled one man, one jar? One man, one jar. Google it.
Oh my God.
Sounds Indian.
I think he's Russian.
I thought it was maybe Indian. One jar. So, anyway, sorry, my head went somewhere else, but
I don't know why that's so funny.
One man, one jar. Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
Indian batsman. Cricket team.
yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
Only one time we've said that this episode, by the way. Okay, going back to it. Talking about how if we could take one thing from this episode, talking about conspiracy theories, what is your guys' opinion on talking about these types of very strong, opinionated people that have these opinions, and what sort of take would you? Sorry, I will reword that. What sort of position would you take when you are talking to these people? So do you think it's better to just palm them off, or do you think it's better to respect them and just listen to them? But like you said before, you love the people, but you don't always love to listen to them.
So for
what
me,
are you laughing at? Hang on.
No,
Sorry.
A mental image popped into my head of like...
You're still thinking about the one jar, aren't you?
No, just like chilling at a cafe somewhere and have some rambling stranger come up to you and go, have you heard about the reptilian people? You know, just like that. And so I was thinking about the answer I would give you to your question, which would be, it depends on what they start talking about. If they approach it and they just start a conversation, then I'm happy to listen. But if they approach me and straight away go, have you seen the reptilian person ordering a Big Mac over there? I'd be like, dude, you've lost me, man.
Yeah.
I would actually kind of almost want to play into it, depending on the situation.
Like, I thought
just from a comedic point of view.
See that? You too.
Yeah, dude. Did you see the shiny scales coming out of these eyes? Oh,
I swear he's with the feds. There's more of them over there in the corner.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay.
Just fuck with them a little bit, you know. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey Epstein was over there as well. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just really start to fuck with them.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Yowie.
No, you're all right. All good. No, look, for me personally, I think it's a case-by-case thing.
Yeah.
Like, depends who it is, whether they actually want to have a discussion or they just want to try and lecture me or whatever. And, like, to me, it comes down to, if you get the feeling like we're just button heads, this is going nowhere, that's that whole thing where I just do the whole, like, let's come back to this in another 5 or 10 years and one of us are going to have to admit some things.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good stance to have, personally. I'm sort of in that same sort of boat. I will respect someone's opinion and I'll listen to them as much as I can. But if you genuinely get to that point where you're really button heads and you just can't get to any sort of resolve because they don't want to, or even if I'm just like, hey, look, I just really don't believe in that. I appreciate you, but I just can't listen to you talking about it anymore because I will look into it.
I will. No,
I will look. Yeah, 100%. But anyway, I'm pretty much in the same boat. What about you, Benny?
Yeah, the same. Like, I'm happy to listen to people. And granted, there's always going to be someone that strikes an interesting conversation or a different point of view.
Yeah.
I'm all down for that. You know, like, I like hearing about people's points of views and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But it's only if they start talking about something like reptilian people do I go, I think you've lost me, man. Like, this is kind of outside the common sense thing, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
But hey, man, in 10 years' time, people could be looking back at this video in a reptilian ruled world, and I'll be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And
I was
that's
wrong.
but that's what I mean. I'm willing to go, oh fuck, I was wrong.
Yeah. 100%. Humility. Yeah.
And it sounds funny to say that, but if you were to go back, say, 40 years ago and say, in 20 years' time, we're going to be thinking that the government caused 2 planes to crash into the Twin Towers, everyone back then to be going, bullshit.
Yeah.
You're crazy, but that's where we are. You've got people legit thinking that. You know what I mean? It's hard to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
hard to
Look,
know.
man, and it depends. Sometimes it depends on what government you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, question for the listeners. What do you think about talking to people that have these types of opinions? Do you like to play along with it? Do you like to respect their opinion? Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah. Actually, that goes back to a question too. Like last week, we were talking about life before the internet and when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking, say, early 2000s, however old you were then, let's just say 20 years ago, if you were to talk to someone back then and you said, in 20 years' time, you're going to be carrying around a device where you're going to have to scan to get in to do every single part of your life, we'd look at them and go, what?
Yeah, what the
You're
fuck
nuts,
are you talking
man.
about?
Like, what do you mean I can't just go to the corner store and get a loaf of bread? So I don't know, in 20 years, you're going to be made to sign in to every single place you go, public toilet, restroom. If you want to go to the shops and get a bottle of milk, you're going to be made to sign in.
Yeah.
They'd probably be saying we're crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at what has happened,
But that comes back to the reason why we had to sign into places.
Yeah.
Like if someone said to me, "Oh no, you're just going to have to do that," like full stop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'd be like even now, I'd be like bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if someone said, "Oh, a fucking pandemic will happen," and you need to sign into a place so they know where you are, so if you do have it, they can tell other people in that area where you were.
Yeah.
Well, that makes somewhat sense to me.
Yeah.
But just thinking that we're going to end up like getting the fucking mark of the beast or some shit to even just buy milk or bread. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off.
Yeah.
The other one, and this goes away from conspiracy theories a bit, but
that's
with the mobile phone cameras, right?
Yeah.
If someone had said to me 20 years ago, they're going to start putting these things out on the roads where if you're holding a camera or your phone in your hand while driving, you're going to be fined and, whatever the case. Because 20 years ago, you can adjust your CD player, you can talk on the phone, you can do whatever. It's just a wild thing to think where we've came from and what's governed now.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So,
It's like, but it's funny, like that, veering off the whole conspiracy thing, but just that whole issue. Like, have you seen that meme? And it's like, we're not allowed to use our phones while driving. Then it's got meanwhile in the 80s. It's got like someone drinking a coffee and flipping through a map to see where they have to go.
And
changing the radio station and whatever. And it's like, man.
Yeah. It's all bullshit. Yeah. Sorry. It's not bullshit. It's safety. Yeah. Yeah. Safety, quote unquote.
Quote. But it's like, and you can see these people that go into like, they're slowly taking our freedom day by day.
Well, we can fight back if we really want to.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. We'll get the reptilians on our side.
Yeah. Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would pretty much about wrap up today's conversation, I think. We're about out of time for today, but Yowie, man, we should get you back on the podcast again, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that would love to talk to you a lot more, and hopefully we'll get a lot more questions about different conspiracy theories and where we all stand on different things, and maybe we can shed some light on some other things on the future. Maybe we can dive into some other topics as well.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Plenty of topics.
Yeah.
Plenty of
there's always stuff to talk about.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure having you on,
thanks
man.
heaps, guys. Really.
But however, we need the tip of the week.
Yes, we do need a tip of the week.
Do you have a tip of the week for us, Yowie Smith?
I'll resort to my dear old grandma who's passed away. Every time someone said, that saying, people go, oh, what do you know?
Yeah.
Every time, man, she would say, shit's good for the garden.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep. Bless her.
Yeah. That's a nice figure of speech, literally and theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good tip of the week.
Yeah.
Good tip of the week.
There you
Well,
go.
Interesting. Who would have thought that a brutal death metal vocalist likes to talk about gardening here and there?
yeah,
Flowers.
Oh, dude, have
and
you
what-
seen my house?
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so good.
It's just gardens.
I love
Yeah.
gardening, man.
Yeah.
What sort of
Oh,
gardening
dude.
unity?
This one's mainly just maintaining.
Yeah,
It's-
maintaining the
it's
garden.
It's like living in a botanical garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a really cool neighbor.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude.
What was he
off
doing
tap.
in the middle of the cyclone?
So
Oh, mate.
we probably shouldn't have walked outside but we did. We had a quick look outside just to have a look at the trees and everything to see how they were going.
Yeah.
And man, it was insane. Like it's the wind, the rain, everything. He's got a shed that's like at least 2 stories high.
Yeah.
And he's up on top of it with a ladder and he's drilled, like putting extra screws into his roof to hold it. I'm just like, holy fuck. Like, yeah.
In the middle of the stuff.
Dude, yeah.
What a lad.
Yeah. He just doesn't give a shit.
Oh, fuck.
He is one of
That's
the
funny.
fucking coolest people you'd ever meet.
Oh, is his name Darren? Please tell me. Oh,
no. But he's like,
Oh,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
What a lad.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's off tap.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
What a guy. Shout out to random guy putting
Oh,
cyclone
mate.
proofing his shed while during a cyclone.
Oh,
Because
mate.
we're standing out and hear this. I'm like, look,
What the fuck is that?
he's up there. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, man.
Category 3 cyclone. Just
Yeah.
no safety gear.
No, man. He was in like a singlet and a pair of shorts.
Oh, what a lad.
mate.
What a lad. Oh, mate. Oh, jeez. You got me laughing today. It's good. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you all for listening. You can find us on all the different platforms, major streaming platforms for podcasting, whether that be Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Prime. Sorry, Amazon. What's it called? Amazon Music, iHeartRadio,
Podbean.
yeah, and whatever the other one was. Anyway, it's all good. It's on all the major platforms.
It's in all the descriptions everywhere.
Everywhere,
You can't miss it.
literally, and
Yeah.
on YouTube, of course, so you can see our beautiful faces and Yowie's amazing beard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a good
Yeah.
lad. And obviously, you can find us also on thatbjshow.com for all the links to every single one of those platforms. And also, you can listen directly on there as well.
Insta, Book of Face, TikTok.
At
Still
that
have no
BJ
idea
show.
how to use TikTok. I think
Yeah.
this is the 4th episode in a row. I've got no idea how to use TikTok.
It's all good.
There's
You'll figure it
The
out.
ticks be talking.
the ticks be talking. There's red likes and all sorts of things happening on there. Still got no idea.
I have no idea what it means. But
Hope
all
it's
we know
not-
is that we enjoy doing the podcast
Yeah,
and we like
it's
giving
good,
it.
man, it's
We
good.
get like giving it to you guys to listen to. So hopefully you are all listening in. Email us at thatbjshow@gmail.com if you have any hate mail, if you have any dick pics, if you have any serious feedback.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you. And or even email us if you have a very specific topic of conversation you want us to bring up on the show. If you want to be on the show, we can start that discussion. If you want to,
like
if you want to sponsor us with some products, or if you even if you just want us to show us the products on camera as well, we're more than happy to
If
talk about that stuff too.
Schecter Guitar is listening and you, for whatever reason, feel like sponsoring me, just to drop your name, I'll have a couple of new 7 strings and some 6 strings happily delivered to my door if you want me to test out a few things.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would
The
happily.
word out.
Yeah.
I'd happily do that too.
Yeah.
See if one jar's available.
One jar.
Oh, good old fucking one jar.
Yeah. If you guys want me to put the
I'm
link
Googling
to
that.
One Man, One Jar, you're more than welcome to just ask.
Yeah. Oh,
You'll
dear
never
Lord.
forget it. I promise you'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm
Yeah.
good, eh?
I'm good. I don't want to laugh. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, on that note, we'll end the podcast there. Thank
Thanks,
you so much
guys.
all for coming. Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Yowie. Awesome. Have a good day.
See you guys.
I can go to put it on silent.
Oh, yeah, if you want to, man. Just in case. Just
Yeah.
in case you get a call. It would suck to like ruin a not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm actually on call for work.
Oh, sure. Are you serious?
What a legend. Title of the podcast.
I'm actually on call for work. I like it.
Didn't even have my headphones on.
Like important. Like there's a client out there in urgent need of assistance. Like, can you call back in an hour?
That's so funny.
I haven't watched the third one yet.
No, that's right. It only just released.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
Last night, yeah.
Last night, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to press you into watching it
Oh,
first 24 hours. 24 hours has gone by, man. Why haven't
What
you...
the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Fake friend.
I thought you were
Fake
friends.
friend. Get out.
Oh, man.